Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Friday night's edition of Not Another Rangers podcast. We are a minute late because Ricky was trying to take over the hosting duties here, but we all said no. So welcome to the Friday night show. I'm your host, Gary, and we are going to preview the Livingston game. So I was asking them before we come on what the big things have been happening this week. It's been because it's the first time in a while. It's the first time in ages, really. We've not kind of a midweek game and then talk about the midweek game leading on to the next game. So it's been a strange kind of quiet week in the world of Rangers. In some ways, there's obviously going to be lots to talk about, but for those in the comments, if you think of anything you want to cover, if you want to talk about John Souttar, you want to talk about John Sterling's alleged injury again, you want to pick up on Nico Raskin, you want to pick up on some other, the allocation of the Scottish Cup, lots of things, but if there's anything else you want to cover tonight, put it in the comments and I will try and use it, because that makes it easier for me as hosting. So, welcome everybody, and as you do with these things, you welcome the most important guests, not the ones that I see 2 times a week. So I'll welcome first William from Hands Across the Water. So hello, William, and give us a wee plug for your show.
Hi, Gary. How you doing, mate? And I was in the same boat as yourself about an hour and a half ago because I was hosting our own show, and it was a struggle trying to get things to talk about because it's weird having Rangers having this break. But I'm sure we'll get through it because there's always plenty to talk about in the Rangers world, I'm sure the comments will be the same. But thanks, as always, for having us in. And as usual, just get us on the Facebook and all that stuff. Same as yourselves, all different links you can get us on, guys. And as I say, it's just like same as this show here. Just guys that we don't think we know everything. We're just normal Rangers fans, like having a chat. So it's the same as yourselves. But thanks for having us on. Always love coming on.
It's always brilliant to have you on, Will, and it means you're not having a drink on a Friday night. Nothing much happening for you. You've not getting any night out. It's all quiet, so you come on the pod. Good. And
the big battle.
If we do run out of things to say, you can just pick up some of the stuff you talked about earlier on, just repeat it again. So that's always a bonus. And just you said the Hands Across the Water. How many followers? As you told us this last time, but I was astounded. Facebook, many followers have you got on Facebook?
We're up to 34,000 now. And averaging, believe it or not, 6.7 million every 28 days viewing the page, and about 500,000 interactions every 28 days. So it's quite scary actually, but it's like yourselves, yourselves, guys, it's your followers and the ones that engage with you. If you don't have them, you don't have anything, you know what I mean? But we're doing really well on the follows side, as I say, but that's due to everyone that helps and comments and retweets everything for us.
Superb. 6.7 million. How big is Northern Ireland? Well, I should know this, but how big is Northern Ireland population?
Northern Ireland's about 1.8, so we're averaging 3 times the country. There
you go. Every 3 times the country watches, show, engages it every month with you. Superb. That's brilliant. Puts us in a place, doesn't it? That we're 1,000 or a couple of thousand followers every episode. But we're glad to have you on. You can help build up our following. So please, if you watch Williams, please like and subscribe. Ours are just as good. Scott, how are you been?
I'm all right, Gary. I'm all right. Wasn't it work today? So I'm quite happy. Friday, doing not a lot.
Good. And Ricky, you're back home, so you're doing kids' duties, doing all that household stuff.
Aye, mate. I've got it's a holiday weekend over here this weekend, so I'm actually going to the derby on Sunday. Apoel versus Ammonia. Ammonia's top of the league, so that'll be an interesting to see how it compares to an Old Firm game. And a lot of stuff planned over the weekend, mate. So looking forward to that. It's been weird with no Rangers through the week, like you said. I've been getting some high sleep scores for the first time in months, so that's been a bonus. That's been a bonus catch up with some sleep this week, mate. But we miss Rangers, and I look forward to watching them again on Sunday, mate.
So before we talk about Rangers, so you're going to the hospitality, I'm assuming, because you get taken by your fancy friends over in Cyprus to this game.
Of course.
And our ex-Rangers players that play, how are they doing? Actually, out of curiosity, how's Ross McCausland, Goldson, Balogun doing?
Ross McCausland's just a puddle, man. The heat's melted him. He's not been seen for months. He's not been. He started off okay, McCausland, but then he's completely fallen out of the picture. They've not been doing too good this season, Aris, and also Goldson's playing every week because he's he's one of the highest paid players in the league. And the other one, Balogun, plays now and again, but he's the same at Rangers. He's injured a lot and stuff like that. And Dessers has been an absolute disaster over in Panathinaikos. What a shock. And we miss him so much. No, he's scored. He's only played 5 games. Yeah, he's been injured all season. He got injured for Nigeria. He didn't play any games in the African Cup of Nations ever. So they've not been doing too well. It's always the case though, Gary. Like players leave Rangers how many players leave Rangers and actually go on to do good things, and we want them to do good things, but a lot of them have been totally struggling, so it's not worked out too well for them so far, unfortunately. I do keep an eye on them, but it's a shame the way it's went for most of them.
That's a shame. Ross McCausland on loan, or was he actually signed for them as an option to buy, an obligation?
No, he's on loan, but I can't remember if it's an obligation. I hope it's an obligation, but he started off quite good, and then he went on a little run, and he seems to be a confidence player. His confidence, if his confidence goes there, he just seems to sink. So he's not been in the team for a while, but hopefully there's still a lot of games to go, but they're coming to the end of the season like us, so hopefully he gets a run of games coming to the end of the season. It's a bit cooler over here just now, so he doesn't have the heat excuse because it's the winter time just now, so he should be playing and doing well.
And what's the winter like in Cyprus? How many degrees is it there?
20 degrees, mate. Sunny every day, but it's been amazing. It's been amazing, mate. But it's nice the winter time.
I don't want to criticise Ross McCausland because William's here, obviously, as his countryman. But do you think maybe he started well, then he realised, he runs one way and sideways basically along there, and that's once he sussed that out, he was fine.
That's the problem for Ross McCausland. Same as Rangers. Do you remember when he came in, he started really well, but the problem is once people start to catch on how you play, you have to adapt and change. And can you throw something different? And unfortunately, you can't. Same for Northern Ireland. Actually, he done really well for us as well. But then his teams caught on to how he played the other international teams. Obviously, watching him, and that's where he struggles. That's where he's going to have to learn. You can't be a one-trick pony. You have to add things to your game. But he's getting to that age now. He's going to have to do it quick because he's fallen away from the Northern Ireland squad completely.
He must be 24 now, actually, isn't he? 23, 24. He must be getting towards that age. Anyway, I was at the darts last night. We were just talking about that before we came on. I was over at the Hydro watching the Bet Premier League, and for those that have been scrolling through TikTok and things like that, Josh Rock there was lots of kind of videos of Josh Rock whereby Rangers fans were singing Danny, Danny Roll, the Celtic fans and Hearts fans and every other fans were booing. So it was quite a fun experience. I was saying that it was weird because it started off when they first came on, they were all booing him. It sounded like I actually thought it was just all Celtic fans over there because it was a proper booing majority. Then all of a sudden, you hear Danny Roll piping up, and then that just kept going the rest of the time, which was quite amusing. So a lot of people around about me weren't that impressed. You heard a lot of people complaining. So darts was a good night. My boy went down to buy a pint, £8 at the bar at one point, and he said that he went down and the Rangers fans were singing various songs. A group of Rangers fans were singing what's the group of songs? A group of Celtic fans, the next bit were all singing Martin O'Neill, and then a group of Hearts fans were all singing that Claudio Braga song, and then they all just started arguing with each other. He's like, "What? I only want to get a drink here. I'm just going back up the stairs." It was like it was football chants here, there, and everywhere. It was a bit wild, some of it, as the darts often is. But well done to the ferret, as they call him in it, who destroyed everybody. I think those that went to see Luke Littler win one leg and play one match, it was probably quite gutted. It was a disappointing for those that will actually know Luke Littler. But as with the darts, it's a bunch of fat, chunkier, robust, obese guys, much like the Celtic goalkeeper. Some would say, if you've watched the game from last night, he probably actually darts player probably moved a lot quicker than Casper Schmeichel did from what the highlights that I've seen. So not that we want to go into that much detail, but I think it's probably he did catch my eye when I got home and seen that he'd tried to actually punch some balls out the way and into the back of his net. So unfortunate for them, but we will not talk about that too much this evening. So Rangers news. I've seen a question there. Do you think McCausland will sign permanently for Cyprus? I think we said no. I think he's on an option to buy. Can't see it happening. And to be honest, he probably would never fit in a Danny Roll team anyway. He's not big enough for one. He's not strong enough. He's not physical enough, and he has no future, unfortunately. But the comment above talks about Curtis, and it feels like ages ago since games have been on, right? So I watched some of the game on. I only managed to watch 90 minutes of the Celtic Kilmarnock game. I didn't watch the 15 minutes injury time after that, so I didn't get to see that. But in the 90 minutes that I seen, Finlay Curtis played quite well. Scott, you're a big Finlay Curtis fan. I thought certainly the first hour that I seen, he was looking quite impressive.
Listen, Finlay's a good player. He's going to do well there, and hopefully he comes back better for it, and he can get into our first team next season, the first team squad, and make an impact to us, because I think he's got all the attributes, Gary. He just probably needed a bit more game time, even though I'd have probably still kept him. Ibrox just for a selfish point of view, but I'm hoping he does well between now and the end of the season for Cully, and he comes back to Rangers better for it, and then he can start fighting for the first team squad next season.
And William, I suppose on Curtis then, so you obviously you've watched some bits of the game. And what's your view? Scott's view is you just stayed and played. Ricky's view and my view is it's just went and loan and get game time to come back next season. I'm interested in what your view is.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah, I can understand why. If Danny Rule didn't see him, for the squad for this season, mate, I think it was probably best that he went to Kilmarnock and get regular game times. And like same as the game against Souttar, he was playing there. That'll only help him, and if he's playing in those games against them, he'll be playing against everyone. So it's a good thing and for us, I think. But I understand what Scotty's saying too. At times there when there's a few times this season we've been like, it'd be good if we had him on just to bring on, But is that really helping his development? Is him playing every game for Kilmarnock in a fight down the bottom of the league? Is that going to benefit the player? Probably. So I think if I was swaying to it, I would say it's probably best he's went away on loan. But I'm really hoping that he's back next season and contributing, because I think he's an awesome talent.
Yeah. So that means 3-1, Scott. So 3-1 is on loan. So don't want to hear that again for the rest of the season about how he should have stayed, right? That's it. Confirmed now. But no, I think he looked quite good. But you can see that he's very raw, Ricky. And you can see he's got lots of things to learn. But what I did see of the game and the games he's played, it's decision making yet. So it's learning that playing the professional game.
Yeah, no, listen, the loan was the right move for him, because you know what would be the case now? He wouldn't be getting any minutes, or barely any minutes. He'd be getting on the park 5 minutes at the end of matches, and that's no helping the kid. You can see when I've watched him for Kilmarnock, and he started really well for Kilmarnock. He played him at right back, and he was really brilliant from right back. He had 9 shots on target in Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock's form is actually turned. They actually should have got something out of that game with Celtic. Their defending was absolutely beyond. Forget about the 10-minute injury time and all that nonsense. To lose 2 goals to long throws. And I don't know if you've seen the interview at the end of the match. The Celtic players were getting interviewed on TV, and Neil McCann was doing David Martindale in the background, screaming at his players, "Yeah, fucking useless!" You can hear him in the background going absolutely bananas at his players. So he was raging with that. But no, Curtis has done well since he's went to Kilmarnock, and it's the perfect loan move for him because he's playing in the same league. And that's what he needs. For me, even at the end of the season, I sort of agree with the boys that will want to see Curtis back. But you only bring him back if he's going to get as fair a chance as minutes as the rest of the players. You ever bring him back as a proper first-team player who, if he's playing well, he stays in the team, or you leave him at Kilmarnock for another season until you're ready to bring him back and properly integrate him, not as a young player that deserves minutes here and there, because that's not doing the kid any good. And we've ruined so many young players the last few years doing that sort of nonsense with them. So for me, I think that if you bring him back, he has to be an actual option of the first team, or you leave him one more season to get all the wrinkles out and actually have him ready with the Premier League and an actual star. Because look at Cameron, mate, as well, right? Cameron's absolutely flying at Aberdeen. He's like levels above the players they've got in their team. But if Cameron came back to Rangers, would he be doing that in our team? That's another. Is he a better option than Asgard? He probably is, but it's interesting. But we can only bring these players back. Our squad, for me, is going to go up levels in the summer again, right? So are these players good enough to be up to that level? There's no room for sentiment. We all want young players to be involved at Rangers, but we want our squad we want another 4 players in the summer of the quality that we signed in January. And if we take the squad up to there, we'll be speaking about John Souttar soon, then it's going to be difficult for these players, because even the dross in your squad, and I'm not calling their players dross, but the players in your squad that are not up to standard start to fall out, and it becomes more difficult. And that's what we need to do, and that's what you need to see at Rangers over the next few years. We need to get that squad to a level that nobody else can compete in the league. And it's been well-deserved, and it's been overdue, Gary. So hopefully that's what the Americans can do.
Yeah, and that leads us very nicely, like, as if you gave me the plug there to talk about John Souttar, but I thought about it while you were talking. Scott, John Souttar signed a new 1-year deal with a 1-year extension, I think, so a deal until 2027. I had a wee look, actually. I didn't realise He's 30 this year. I didn't actually realise what age he was. He's 30 this year, so I suppose that probably makes some sense that it's a 1 year deal with a 1 year option, and he's obviously only plays. He's got quite maybe 30 games a season on average he's played in his career, so he's obviously a lot of injuries. So, do you think it's a good deal? Good for Rangers, right thing for us at the moment, and also the length of the deal.
I think the club are always going to do it, but I wouldn't have done it myself. But that's just my opinion. I think we need better than John Souttar. I think we need somebody more reliable than John Souttar. It's the same with Sterling. I think we need better and somebody more reliable than him as well. But I know what John Souttar gives us. If he's going to be a squad defender and play every so often, that's fine with me. But he can't be first choice. He would have to be somebody else brought in to compete, because, like you said, Gary, he doesn't play enough, even though he does contribute. Same with Sterling, I read. Don't know if it's true, but he's only played like 45 games or something like that over the last 3 seasons. I could be wrong, but to me, that's not enough. And he's another one I feel we have to move on from. But listen, if he's on, I don't know what wages you get, John Souttar, and that just shouldn't like him into it, but a 1 year deal's fine. And as long as you bring in somebody else to challenge for that position, somebody a bit younger.
I think that's. I mean, I'm a big fan of John Souttar. I think he gets a bit of a raw deal. I think he's a good passer of the ball. He's a good defender. He'll make mistakes because he's the level we're at. A lot of time he makes less mistakes probably than others. He probably tries more things than a lot of other ones do. Actually, interesting enough, I had a look at his stats the last couple of years. He's played 40 games last year and 40 games the year before. But certainly before that, he struggled. I think he's maybe played, 20 odd so far this season. Only 11 of those are league games. Well, John Souttar with a new 1 year deal. I mean, I think Scott's right. What you always want, and Ricky's right, you want to continue improving and bringing better players so that they're not necessarily the first choice. But in terms of a squad player, a guy that can contribute over the season, happy with the new deal?
Yeah, happy enough. I think it's, if you look at it, maybe we actually don't have many centre backs that we actually own. Quite a few of them are on loan, so we're going to have to add anyway, no matter whether you had John Souttar or not. You need the add. But I do agree with Scotty there. I think good as a squad player, but I'd be looking for better. But I know he does a job. There's no doubt about it, and he, as you say, he gets a bit of a raw deal sometimes, and and as well with Tavernier, and so say sometimes it's hard for him to come back in defence. So sometimes Souttar sort of left in his own as well. Times are, and he's to cover that position. Plus, likes of Sterling and stuff, he always looks sturdy because obviously he's a wee bit more better defending wise, so that does help him. But he's another one we just spoke about. He's very rarely fit, So I think John Souttar, to be fair, he puts in a good shift. That's one thing about him all the time. Good Scottish player, and it's also good for European to have Scottish players in your squad, obviously, and he'll definitely get games next season. But I would like to see us hopefully improving in centre back position where he wouldn't have to play just as much.
Yeah, I think that's it. He's a Scottish player, so that's that European contingent, all the sort of stuff that goes with it. He gives you that kind of passing range that probably most of our other defenders. You watch Giga and Fernandez, much as I like them and they've done it well, don't have the kind of passing range that Souttar's got, and it does add some value to the team. I think that the challenge is that he shouldn't always be the only one. So, but there is links. I'm going to stick with you, William. Just Manny Fernandez has been linked to around the world. There seems to be now, from Bayern Munich to Dortmund to Leverkusen to Arsenal to, I don't know, I can't remember the teams. I keep seeing things on X about him being linked here, there, and everywhere. The guy that was a dud at Peterborough last year is now rising through the ranks and talking about huge transfer fees. So what do you think about him, his progression, and would you be looking to cash in the season if he continues his trajectory?
Well, Barry Fry did say he's going to make me millions.
Yes.
He did say that, to be fair, even though he was, a lot of their support at the time was saying he's a donkey. I think he's come on well. If I was sitting at Dortmund with all their money, or Chelsea or Arsenal, would I be looking at Fernandez? Probably not. But maybe that's why I'm not a scout and these guys are. But I think he's definitely progressed well, mate. Remember he got an injury at the start of the season. So we hadn't seen him for a while. Since he's come in, I thought he's done well. He's a bit of a leader, actually. And you have to think, the guys came through a tour of time with Rangers when we were an absolute basket case, guys. And we were getting some hammerings, especially in Europe, with the way Russell Martin was setting up our team. So nobody had any confidence. But I think since then, he's played very well. He has made a few mistakes, but who doesn't? Fuck me, Lorenzo Amoruso, the first 6 months at Rangers, if you remember, everyone was saying, get that fucking guy out of this team. He's useless, and ended up doing a good job for us. I'm not saying he'd be at that level, but, I think he's done pretty well. And you can count on him more often than not, mate. You can count on him. But I personally can't see any of those big clubs coming in now for massive money. But if they do, Rangers have to be in a position where we sell. Look at across the city, guys. They know when to sell at the right time because they're always confident that they can reinvest and bring in, the same level and go again. And that's what Rangers need to do. So if someone comes in and offers you 15 million for a player you've spent 3 or 4 million on the year before, that's good business, But we'll wait and see if that happens. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but you never know.
And Ricky, you're a huge fan of Manny Fernandez, so I feel bad actually sitting and saying, trying to get him out the door already, but I'm sorry. But he has, as the season was on, he's progressed, he's really developed, he's starting to look, and he's a player we have. I suppose go back to it, but William's talking about we don't have many centre halves, so he's one that we actually own for £3.5 million, but he has developed. It does now look like a player that has got the attributes and starting to bring them all together. So do you see him actually ever getting to those levels that have been talked about, or do you think it's a bit over the top?
No, it's a bit over the top, but he's too good for all the clubs, man. None of the clubs have taken Fernandez off Rangers, man. He's a Rangers legend in the making. No, he's him and Souttar. The way I look at both of the players, mate, is if you pick our strongest 11, for me, both of them are our two starting centre backs. I agree with you, Gary. Souttar, he does make mistakes, right? And it seems to me he's the sort of guy that every time he makes a mistake, it leads to a goal. So that highlights Souttar. And that highlights a lot of Souttar's mistakes. And Fernandez's growth has been absolutely outstanding. Arsenal's I think probably what's happening is he's all his stats will be alerting, because all the data people will be, this guy scores from set pieces, wins every header, he's good on the ball, okay, he's a little bit erratic, he's bloody 7'5", he blows fireballs out his ass. Like, all the data guys will be foaming at the mouth for this kid when the company comes up on the screen and stuff like that, and they're watching him. And he's playing at a decent level when they're watching him playing for Rangers, as long as they didn't watch that 5 minutes where he gave away the goal against Hearts last week. But no, mate, we need to, like the guy said, I totally agree. The best thing, Rangers, we're getting in a strong position, Gary. So they two players are in our starting strongest 11 of our team right now. But if you can bring in two centre backs that are better than them, and then you've got Souttar, so that, because you know how many we need to bring in. People remember, you're going to lose 5 defenders in the summer. If Tavernier goes, you're losing a right back, and then you're losing Aarons, and then you're losing Cornelius, you're losing Jigga, and there's one more Magoma as well, man. That's 5 defenders you need to replace in the summer. So Luke Graham is obviously sensible, because you're picking him up for a couple of million and he knows the league. So that gives you 3 centre backs, and then you can pick up one more. And then I don't know when Sterling's contract's up, but he needs to be moved on. He can't be offered a new contract, but he might be floating around as that 5th centre back next year. So we still need to do a lot of business in the defence. And so giving Souttar a short-term deal makes complete sense. I like the fact we've gave him the 1 year and then the carrot of a second year if he does well, because then he knows he needs to perform to get that second year, which is a good thing across the board. There's no point in giving a guy at his age with his injury record a 4-year deal and then you regret it down the line and it's like, Jesus, and he breaks down again and has a bad injury or whatever. You don't want that to happen, but then you're stuck with a 30-year-old centre-back on a 4-year deal. So I like the Americans are starting to really, for me, do all the decisions are starting to be right, and they're starting to really put their stamp on the club, Gary, and I really like that. And you hear the way, so I don't know if you saw Souttar's interview today with the negotiations and stuff like that. The club is really starting to settle down, and it's really exciting for us, because across the city's on absolute fire, and it's brilliant to watch, mate. So it'll be I'm excited for the title race is going to be amazing, and then the summer should be amazing with the business we're going to do. So as a Rangers fan, we're in a great place, and it's exciting, and there's a lot to look forward to over not just the title race, but the summer's going to be exciting as well, Gary. So bring it on.
And Scott, I'm going to come back to you in a minute, right? So look, Graham, you know more than I do ever about players that are playing in the Scottish Premier League and other ones and the younger ones. Before I do that, William, John's in complaining again. I'm sure last time you were on, John was telling us you wouldn't let him put comments in, so there's going to be a chance to reply here.
John, I apologise, mate, because I haven't a clue. I'm actually on your YouTube page. You're on our YouTube page, and you're there, and I can I don't get it. There's no block. You're not blocked running, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
You've
I'll have
got
to
a
look into it.
stalker. You've got a stalker, mate. It's awesome.
I don't know what's going on with that, John. To be honest, mate, I really don't have a clue. I'm trying to read what he's saying there. I've closed and opened numerous times, and it still won't let me chat. I don't know. I'll have a look at it after. I've got your YouTube on my phone now, so I'll have a look at my end, see if I can sort something out here.
So if not another Rangers podcast can help fix your hands across the water thing, you know, that's good going. So John, but you can comment as much as you like here. Feel free. So Scott, look, Graham, there's been a lot of links. I don't know. I'm going to be brutally honest and say I don't know anything about him at all. Other than the fact I've heard he's a young Scottish player and he's been raved about. And again, what do you know? Would he be good, or is he just literally another young Scottish player that we're hyping up without actually knowing much about him?
I think the problem is, Gary, what you've just said to another young Scottish player, it seems to be when we get Scottish players who have potential or are decent, we seem to write them off before we give them a chance, whereas if I'm from somewhere else in the continent or the UK, we give them more of a chance. Do you know that way? I just feel it ticks all the boxes, but we're looking for a defender. Why? He's not going to cost a lot of money. Ricky nailed it in the head saying earlier, he knows the league. But every signing is a gamble. Doesn't matter if it costs 2 million, 20 million or whatever. Every signing is a gamble. You know yourself, one bad game he gets criticised, one good game you think he's fantastic, as what's happened with some of the players this season. So I just think the club have obviously watched him quite a lot. He's still learning the game, but he reads the game well. He's positionally very good and he can come out with the ball and he's good with the ball at his feet when I've seen him. So but playing with Dundee is different than playing with Rangers, but we have to stop thinking just because you're not a Scottish player and he's young, he's not going to be good enough for us. I feel that's snobbery at times because there's a lot of players in this league that probably could do us a turn. So it depends what happens in the summer. We may look at him, we may go for him, we may not. I think a lot of it is paper talk, a lot of it is rumours going about because we are looking for defenders and stuff like that. But we'll see, Gary. I just think what we're going to do is we need to bring in players to compete, but we also need to bring in guys who potentially to build on as well. Do you know what I mean? That's how I always kind of give Curtis a lot of praise, because if Curtis was Gisama, for instance, we wouldn't be forcing him out the door because he came through PSG's academy. Do you know what I mean? But because he came through Rangers academy, it's like, oh, is he good enough? I just think sometimes we've got to take that away and just look at the player himself. He's looking at everything else round about it. So I don't know what the club are doing. They're going to be looking at a lot of talent, but there's going to be a lot of names linked to us between now and the end of the season. They have to fit in what Danny Rule wants, right enough. But I think one of the big things we're going to have to look at, depending on how the season goes between now and the summer, is Danny Rule himself. Because if he does really, really well, he could be earmarked with teams looking at him as well. So I think the club have to make sure they kind of keep him at bay before looking at recruitment.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with you, Scott, just because there's a few other people showing it every week for the last 3 weeks, and who's talking about Giga. She's now a big Giga's #1 fan, I think, when I've seen the comments. So and he has come on a game over the last couple of weeks. He's certainly better than the bomb scare that was earlier in the season. And the other one that's kind of flagged up was Ethan Hamilton. Dundee, every time I've watched him, he looks a good player, and he's tall, he's physical, he's good on the ball. I don't know his background. I think he played, was it Man United?
Yeah, I know he came for somewhere. It's like everything. So when Glenn Kamara came for it, we didn't really know a lot about him. Everybody just spoke about, he came through Arsenal's academy. So we just took him on and it worked out well for us. Do you know what I mean? Connor Barron's worked out well for us. Obviously, the boy Cameron came from Dundee. Lyle's away to Aberdeen, but he's doing really well there. So I think every signing's a gamble if they come for our league, if they're going for another league. Giga's done okay. I mean, I would bring Giga back. It was affordable. I think he's starting to fit into the way we play, starting to fit into the way the league is, and he's physical enough for it. He's starting to know it better. But obviously, he's on a lot of money at Wolves and he's going to cost a lot of money. So maybe that's why they're looking elsewhere at people on less money and people maybe going to cost less. It's get maybe similar attributes.
That's what I'm going to ask a question, Ricky. You look bored. You keep yawning there. I keep catching my yawn. Is it tiring over in Cyprus? They haven't looked after the kids.
No, I was busy today, mate. I'm a bit tired. I was sleeping before I came on the pod, but I'll survive, mate. Come on, fire. What do you want to know?
What was I going to say there? Do you know, in terms of just a quick question, right? So we signed 18 players, is that right now? I know we've only got 4 of them on you. So of those 14 players we signed, who's the player of the season of those, in your view?
For me, and I'm not just saying this from bias, I would say out of the summer signings, the best player we've signed has been Fernandez. You've got to say, for like the shock value that we didn't. He was the one we thought was going to be the biggest waste of money, and for me, from the summer, he's been the best. And definitely from the January signings, Romans by an absolute mile. He's obviously he's up there with Davy Robertson and Arthur Newman already, so he is the best. We've done a great business in January, but being serious, Fernandez for me from all the summer signings. Shermitty's got potential, but he's got to show it more. He's still like. Is he the Motherwell, the striker that turned up against Motherwell, or is he the striker that turned up against Hearts and Celtic? You know, if you're a Rangers striker, you don't have to do it every single game, but you have to do it 90 to 95% of the time. And even be involved in the game. The problem is he was brilliant against Celtic, and he was brilliant. He was even better against Hearts, and it's like we want to see more of that player. We don't want him to go back to the striker we saw against Motherwell, who's not making. We know the Dairy's out against Livingston, and that's a massive, massive blow because he was the Kenny Miller for Chris Boyd. That like he was his Kenny Miller doing all the dirty work for him, and we were excited to see how that was going to progress. So that's a big blow for me. So that's the ones I would be going for sure.
Well, I'll come at you, and this is a random question because it popped to mind we're talking about. So I think I've seen something. Shermitty don't got a better goal scoring record per minutes than most players actually in this season. But in terms of you played the season of the new signings up till now, and you can fling your January ones if you want. Although they played 200 minutes.
All right, no, I'll agree with Ricky there. Fernandez, you know, if you're looking for someone who's been consistently good, you know, I think it has been Fernandez. Likes of Mickey Moore and stuff, has played really well. You know, I mean, at times, there's no doubts. Maybe a wee bit slow start as well, but just for someone who you're guaranteed in your team every week and doing a job, Fernandez for me, definitely. And I would agree with Ricky again. When it comes to Romans looks absolutely fantastic. And see, to be fair, what I like is, and the January window is notoriously very hard, but if we're being honest, the 4 that we've brought in are very good. So that gives me actually a bit more excitement for the next transfer window. If we keep getting that sort of level of player, hopefully Romans has a twin brother or something with a right foot for next season. That would be fantastic at the right back position. But and I think Olsen will be a really top player for us. But if you look at the 4 we brought in, Gary, he is the only one that probably wasn't playing every single week for his club team. So I think it's still going to take him a few more games, you know, to get into the mix, but I think he'll be an awesome player. But if you're asking me at the start of the window, definitely Fernandez, I would say, has been the one for me.
Yeah. I'll come at you, Scott. So Shermitty, just on Shermitty, I was thinking that Shermitty's, for me, last season's Dessers. So all season I've been on about how good Dessers was and scored 30 goals. Since Shermitty's saying, I've been saying there's something about him. And there is, you know, you definitely see something there. He's got all the attributes, he's got all the things there. If he can put together the goals consistently as opposed to be bundles of goals, he could really be something special for us, given his low 21. But you're a player of the 14 signings, and you can fling in Romans as your January one as well if you want.
Jonah actually stole my comment because I was going to say Danny O'Reilly, to be honest with you, but I would actually go with Mikey Moore. I think a lot of the games at the start we were struggling, and he was the only one that was constantly wanting to go forward, constantly no hiding. Even when he was maybe no in the game, he's maybe doing things and the fans were getting frustrated because he was losing the ball, but he kept going, he kept going. It's good when you're winning, you can pick players out, but it's when you're getting beat or struggling. Mikey Moore always stood up for me. He was never hiding. He was always wanting the ball, no matter how bad or how good he was playing, he was always looking for the ball. So it'd be Mikey Moore for me. But Fernandez has done really well, considering when he came in, he was injured and then he didn't really get a game until I think it was Danny Dale came in, to be fair. So they two, January is very hard to pick somebody. To be honest with you, the 4 boys have looked good at different times. Romans has looked good. Nadiri I really like, to be honest with you. Tuckmani looks very good, and Scove Olsen looks decent, to be fair. But I need to see more of Scove Olsen. He has to be more consistent. But obviously, the assist he made the other week was really good. But I want to see more of that. But overall, I think Mikey Moore's just, I know he's on loan, but I think sometimes loan players, some come in and they flatter to deceive, like, but some come in and do really well, like Charlie done and Seema done, and I think Mikey Moore's another one of them. Whereas you want to keep him, but obviously we can't. But I would go with Mikey Moore, just edging it for Fernandez.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else really there. I think probably Chermiti, Fernandez, Moore, maybe Gassama at a pinch. And McGoma's done decent enough. You know, the rest of them haven't done that well. I kind of think some of them are now. Some of them are even gone. Some are on loan. Some of them are on the treatment table. Some of them we never ever see in terms of Aarons and guys like that. So I think they're probably the ones that do stick out. But that then, I suppose, leads us to the Livingston game. So we are 2 points behind Hearts. Hearts play tomorrow. William against Falkirk. Ideally, Falkirk are in the top 6. Have been outstanding this season. Can take something off them, which would then give us a chance to go top of the league at Livingston's, whatever the pitch is called nowadays, on the Sunday. There's a couple of injuries. One of them allegedly Sterling, and allegedly Nadiri, the new Thomas Muller. That seems to be the ones that are going to potentially be out. The good thing is we've got lots of options anyway, so it's not a major worry. I suppose first on Sterling, you know, Scott mentioned it earlier on, Ricky, he's played 15 games a year in the last 3 years, I think. You know, plays one game, then injured for 4. I think it's a challenge, to be fair. And people talk a lot about how he should be playing every week, but you can't keep him fit to play.
No, and I remember the last time I was on this show, what I said was get Sterling on the pitch against Hearts, bubble wrap the guy, play him against Celtic, bubble wrap him again, and keep doing that the whole. And unfortunately, the bubble wrap didn't last too long for Sterling, mate. But he's a class player. But I'm at this, even me, mate, and I was the one like, no, give him time. Maybe, you know, if he gets through this other injury, maybe even I'm at the stage now going, fuck this, we can't have this again next season, guys. You know, and it's sad for him. You know what I mean? He's a talent, but we can't be doing this, guys, because we'll do this next season. It'll be the same problem again. And unfortunately for him, he's a big, powerful guy, but not built for the league. Unfortunately, he just seems to get injured all the time, and I think that's going to be his whole career, mate. So it's sad. And don't get me wrong, if he's out for 2 to 3 weeks, he'll come in important games, maybe in the last 6, and he'll come in and he'll play well, because that's what he does. But you can't. We'll have to move on from that, Gary. Now, mate, it's turning into a bit of a nonsense, isn't it?
Gary, was Sterling not given a contract extension last season?
He was, 2 years. No, maybe the year before that. It's definitely maybe a new 4-year deal. I'm sure he's got 2 years left of his deal anyway. I think he does. Dan Yilmaz played more games than him.
So, and I'm going to say, William, it's probably the bubble wrap that injured him.
Too tight.
Wrap too tight.
Too tight, mate. 100%.
It's a frustration, because he's got attributes, whether and defensively solid, and particularly when playing against essentially Celtic or tough away games, not necessarily Livingston, I would suggest, but having that defensive skills, power, strength. But so it's all well. Give it one game, Ricky, isn't enough for you then be out for 3 games after it?
No, it's terrible, mate. The good thing today was, though, there was a lot of panic. Rolls obviously chucked the toys out the pram after the Motherwell game because of what was said, what he said in the press conference, and then apparently a players got injured after the press conference, and then so now he's not telling us any information about injured players. So everyone, there was a little quip today with Sky Sports at the training ground, and I paused it about 50 times. Romans, yeah.
Was it there?
Mikey Moore, yes. It was then Gordon Duncan put Nadiri, and then it was Sterling. So it was like, okay, it was no offense to Sterling, you don't want any player to get injured, but it was like, that's not really a surprise. And then the great news was he was the one that was out for 3 weeks, and then Nadiri's the one that probably could play against Livingston, but because it's on that pitch, they will probably take him out of the firing line and keep him for Celtic, which is the sensible move, because I think that Roll is going to have a good plan in place for the Celtic game. He's going to surprise us. So it's going to be interesting, Gary, to see what he does. He's got a lot of options now. Me personally, I would bring Moore. I wouldn't bring Miovski in. I would still stick with the same formation, and I would bring Moore into the middle, like as in that second striker now. Mm-hmm. And probably you've got a choice. You can either put Ant-Man on the left, or you can put Gassama on the left. And I've seen people through the week going on about Ant-Man playing it right back, because the way that 4-4-2 or whatever you want to call it system works is your full-backs are basically wingers again anyway, and your defensive covers coming from your midfield players. So that could be an interesting solution, because the three right-backs will have, let's be honest, one's always injured, one's no good enough in Aaron's, and Tavernier's okay for some matches, but he can't play every match, and he is a bit sketchy when it comes. There's players that get the better of him, and he's got a history with some players, so that's a worry going forward with the games coming up for the title race. You need Sterling for this games. You've got 11 games to go, and we need options in these positions. And he's the one player, him and Matondo, when the transfer window opens, it's still on the treatment table all the time. So that has to be looked at moving forward, mate. So it is going to be interesting to see what Danny Rowe does on Sunday night. But we should still have enough to beat Livingston. But I don't think we should just be rolling up to Livingston and thinking, okay, we're going to cut to... I don't think we will. I think Rowe will have the players in tune. But we need to go for the jugular on Sunday, mate. No matter what Hearts' score is tomorrow, whether they win, draw, lose, forget about that. It'll be great if Falkirk can do us a favour and at least take a point off them. But Celtic are playing at the same time, so they're the ones we need to worry about for me now. So we just need to go for Livingston, get as many goals as we can, the league goals. The last time I went there, it took a 90-odd minute goal from Aaron's. That was our first win of the season, which was absolutely ridiculous. So let's hope it's a bit more comfortable on Sunday, Gary, and we can give them a proper hiding, because goal difference could be important as well. So these games, you want to get a few goals, and then next weekend we'll be able to rack up the goals.
That's it. If Schmeichel's still playing, clearly. How bad must Sinisalo be? That's a different story. So, Scott, obviously, we've got one of the things we had last week after the Hearts game was the options. We've got lots of options. So much as we were talking about, Cornelius is maybe back in a couple of weeks, Barron's maybe back in a couple of weeks, Nadiri's potentially out, Sterling's out every 3 out of every 4 games anyway. But we have options around the team. So whatever we can't do. I think we played Livingston twice this season. 1-2-1, if you remember rightly. Do you remember the goal? Who's the winner away at Livingston?
I remember Aaron scored it, but it came across the box. He just fired it in the net, didn't he? So
94th minute, Aaron scored the winner, and then the game at Ibrox. Does MD not remember the score at Ibrox? Ricky William.
Was it 1-0? We beat them 1-0, or was it 2-1? We beat them 2-1, but we're rubbish.
Do you know who scored one of the goals, Ricky? Who's your favourite player that scored one of the goals?
Asgard, was it? 2-1?
Fernandez scored the first goal, then Diamande scored the winner.
Oh, right, yeah, I remember.
So I think the one Diamande, he thought it was offside, actually, Scott. Remember at the game, actually, there was when he passed the ball across. He thought he was going to be offside. So it's been 2 tough games, Scott, against Livingston so far. 2-2 wins, one during Russell Martin's era, when things were, that was probably only win in the league. And then obviously a tough one when Danny Rowe was in, and it was still quite lack of confidence. So it's not been easy. We've now got a new manager in terms of Marvin Bartley, who actually speaks quite well. He's always come across quite well. He seems to know what he's doing. It won't be easy, much as we shoot their bottom of the league.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting up a fight, Gary. In the highlights I've seen, they're putting up more of a fight than they did. But I mean, they know Marvin Bartley's been working under David Martindale for a while, so, and he's been back and forth at the club for a while. So most of the players will probably know what he does and know what he's like. And now he's just get a final say, hasn't he? But it will be tough, because they still probably think in their heads they can catch maybe Dundee or Kilmarnock. You have to keep thinking that, so they're going to go out and try and win the game. We have to be the same, and I don't want to concentrate on Hearts or Celtic. I think we just have to concentrate on ourselves, get the game won, and then we can look at anybody else. But just get the game won, get 3 points in the bag, and look towards next week. Just take it a game at a time, and whoever's available, Daniel's got to pick his strongest squad. He can't start to say, right, we can leave him for next week. He has to look in the Livingston game before anything else. Don't bother about next week. Look, win this game first, and then look ahead to next week. Everything else is on focus on Livingston. So I know if Sterling's out, the Dairy's out, so obviously Tav will come back in, and then I don't know if I would bring Miovski in. I know he liked to 2 up, but kind of like what Ricky was saying, playing somebody off.
Play Mikey Moore behind him.
Mikey Moore, maybe Dio, play somebody, and get Sam or a Ant-Man, isn't it? But I know he likes Mikey Moore, maybe cutting inside, but I like Mikey Moore in the middle. I think he's that type of player. If you give him a free role, he can cause so many different issues. So you have to play your strongest squad, strongest starting 11, no matter who it is.
And on that, so the last game was 2-1. I think just talk about Tav playing. He scored an overhead kick. Remember that when Ant-Man put a brilliant ball back? Actually, it was an overhead kick. It was a really good goal at that time to go 1-0 up, and one of the only good goals we did score at that time. But in terms of William, then your thoughts? We've got lots of players. I suppose you guys like Deal, who was very unlucky to miss out last week, was on the bench. You had Giga, who we talked about a few times, who's been playing really well, was on the bench. You've got obviously, if Sterling's out, Tav potentially comes in. You've got a number of other players that are there, from Miofsky to Gassama to Ant-Man to Magoma. Do you see much in the way of changes or anything you would like to see changed?
Well, I just hope he shows them a lot of respect. I don't want any of this nonsense like Motherwell. Thinking about getting the next game and not worrying about the game you're playing. At the end of the day, tough wee team, Livy, and they're down the bottom because they deserve to be there. But as Scott said, it hasn't been a lot of hammers for them. They've been actually very unlucky, but that's what happens when you're down there. And if you lose to a Russell Martin team, you deserve to get relegated anyway, really, if you're being honest. But that's the way they're in the position they're in. But we need to show them respect, guys. And there's no excuses with no midweek games. Do not think about Celtic. I don't want anyone in that dressing room thinking about that Celtic game. Think about Libby. Go and show them respect. Go and beat them. Play your strongest team. And we'll not argue, but we'll all debate who we think our strongest team is, because we've got that many options now, which is great. But I just don't want to see too much change. Try and keep it as close to what you can to the last game. Go out and win it. And if you win it early, you make changes, and you bring others that likes your Ant-Mans in and Asgard, whoever, if the game's won, that's the way to do it. You don't start with those guys though, because Libby are no mugs.
So would you be going for the same team, pretty much, bar Tav for Sterling and I don't know who for Nadira?
I think Ricky said there maybe Mickey Moore playing in the middle.
So who replaces it? Who plays left then? That man or Gassama's probably two options.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to say I'm going to go with Ant-Man, because I think Gassama's a better player coming off the bench. That's my opinion. But and I think that would be a good strong team. I just hope and I think he will. I think Danny Rule has seen what what can happen in this league if you take your eye off the ball. And I think it's one game at a time. But yeah, that was a great point by Ricky. Mickey Moore in the middle, and let him play off Chermiti, give him that bit of freedom. I think that would be a good option.
Do you think, Ricky, the plastic pitch then? So Livingston, we always talk about the plastic pitch. Everybody talks about that. Obviously Sterling probably couldn't have played in that anyway tomorrow, even if or Sunday, even if I had been fit. But guys like Scott Olsen that are coming into the team, Romans, who's had an injury and just come back to fitness. Do you think some of that may play on the decisions made?
No, listen, I'll ask you a question. Where would you rather play at the weekend? Would you rather be playing? I know Livingston's junky carpet's an absolute shambles, mate, but would you rather be playing there, or would you rather be playing Pittodrie, or would you rather be playing in Dundee, where the pitch is like the ball just sticks on the pitch because it's been pissing the rain there? It's like they've started building another arc up there because it's been raining that much since for about 3 months, mate. So I've heard some nonsense this week on some podcast, by the way, about it's a plastic pitch, you can't play Souttar, get Jigga in there, you can't play, you get Magoma at left back. It's like, Jesus Christ, you're supposed to be Rangers fans. Did you watch us at Fir Park against Motherwell? Are you absolutely mental? Like, you've got to play it game by game, Gary, right? You're playing away to Livingston. I don't care if we're playing on concrete. I don't care if we're playing on plastic, grass, if it's raining, if it's windy. You have to play your strongest team. We've got 11 cup finals to go. Last week against Hearts, we were outstanding. We played our strongest team. We won 4-2. Nadiri got injured. Sterling got injured. Shit happens, Gary. Ibrox is like a carpet, mate. Shit happens. You play your strongest team to beat Livingston. Treat Livingston like they're Celtic, Real Madrid, Stuttgart, Barcelona, whatever team you want to mention. Your strongest team is what you have to pick for the match that you're playing. If you want to rest players and you want to just go for the league title, rest players against Celtic in the Scottish Cup. Not that I would, but if that's what you want to do and you think that we need to rest players because these professional athletes cannot play on unless it's sunny, 20 degrees, and the pitch is like Ibrox, then what are they doing at Rangers, mate? So for me, We tried that against Motherwell. It backfired big style. We were absolutely hopeless in the match. Our squad is not strong enough with the options that we have to be dropping players like Romans and Souttar and players like that. We've got a few players out injured and we're just about surviving with the quality in the team. We're able to bring in quality and keep the level very, very high. But if you start losing another 3 or 4, or if you start thinking that you can play Magoma at left back or you can change this player, it'll backfire, Gary, and we'll end up dropping stupid points. And we might still be able to win the title, but why are you putting the title at risk? We've got a real chance now. Forget about Hearts and forget about Celtic. If we concentrate on Rangers, we've got a real chance now to put the hammer down over before we get to the split. Win every single game before we get to the split. Knock Celtic out of the Scottish Cup. If we do that and we win every game, then look at Hearts and look at Celtic and see where they are. And in my opinion, they will be a good number of points below us in the league table, mate. And then we can concentrate after the split. So that's what we need to do. Strongest team every single game. Worry about injuries after the match. And just another thing before we move on is what I've seen about players in the past and that when they play on the plastic pitch. What it does to your body is it makes your body a little bit more sore the next day. So it's not like every player gets injured because they play on a plastic pitch. What it does is it's more difficult to recover as a professional footballer. The bounce is different when you're playing on it. But all these players have played on loads of plastic pitches. But it's your body takes an extra day to recover. But we've got a week to recover between games now. So let's take advantage of that. Be sensible about this title race, mate. Get the points on the board, and then let's worry about we can win this title now. For me, we're the favourites, but we've got to be sensible about how we'll go about it. If we start resting players and thinking we're good enough to do that and think that we're good enough to win the league with players out, then it's not going to happen and we'll end up shooting ourselves in the foot, mate.
Yeah. Scott, one player I do want to ask you about then, right? So just cross the mind there. So the only one that I can see, so obviously, you assume Tav comes in, you assume either Antman or Gassama comes in for Nadiri. The only other one that probably sticks in my head is Deal. Right, Deal since January has been our best player. Raskin's maybe been a little bit ropey. You know, Chukwani's come in done well. Do you think there's a case to be made for Diamande playing on Sunday? He's the only one I can see that really probably deserves a game.
That's a case for him, and that's up to Danny Rail. He's got 3 players there probably fighting for 2 positions. And that's 2 he goes with. Does he change it? He might. He went with Raskin and Deal at Motherwell, and he went to and Chukwani come in, and then depends where he wants to go, Gary. You don't think you need to sit as much against Livingston. They're still going to hit us in the break, to be fair. But he might go with Deal and Raskin might go with Deal and Chukwani. You just never know. But I will say, I mean, it might surprise us all and bring in Majovski and stick 2 up front like he did against Hearts and play him off. Do you know what I mean? Because a few comments I've said, if you should stick with 2 up top, and if that's the case, that's the only change you can really make is bring in Majovski. We know Majovski will score goals. It's just his other side of the game. We don't know, does he offer what, it's not so much what we want, does he offer what Danny Rowe needs. But if Danny Rowe brings him in, because he done it against Kilmarnock earlier in the season, he played really well, scored, didn't he? And then he might come in tomorrow, he might come in on Sunday and score again, because he has a goal scorer, Majovski, if you give him the chances. Maybe playing with somebody next to him might give him more chances as well. So you just don't know what we're going to do. Like I say, the middle of the park, we've only really got 3 basically there, unless you want to plant Asgard in there. But I would just say with Deal, Raskin and Chukwani, so he's got 2 for 3. But I don't think he'll play the 3 again together. No way at Livingston, so I think he'll take 2 of them out of 3 and leave 1 of them out. It could be any of them, but Gary.
Aye. It's a good position to be in. And I suppose in some ways you actually have 3 international level players, you know, potentially that actually get picked for 2 positions, and they do. They've got a lot of energy, a lot of strength, a lot of physicality around the park. So I think that's a positive. We're going to get score predictions from you, but actually just in the scene here, Big Phil was putting about the other scores. So I'm actually, just because we're getting towards the end of the season and it's big weekends, I'm going to get score predictions for ourselves and our 2 rivals games as well, just for this evening, just to see where we're at. I might not do this every week, but tonight I'm going to do it, see it's in my head. So we're going to Hearts v Falkirk tomorrow, Celtic v Hibs, right? I think no pay much attention. And then we've got Rangers, Livingston v Rangers. So The score predictions, William, for all 3 games, right? So let's see, then we can see when we become champions.
Yeah, the battle will crash this weekend for Hearts. I think Falkirk's a very good side, and as I say, I'm one of those sad people that watch Scottish football, so I'll watch it even when we're not involved. And that Falkirk team are really impressive. I think Falkirk will get a sneaky win at Tynecastle. I think Hibs can go to Parkhead and get a draw, no problem. Seriously, that's all the team. They're begging to collapse on themselves. They want to just sit and boo their big goalkeeper. So hopefully he has another flop, and that's a draw. And then the Rangers just do the business on Sunday, and we get a 4-1 win and be top of the league by Monday.
4-1 win. It seems there's so many goals. William, there's goal scorers. Any ones that's jumping out at you?
Well, it won't be Trimity because it's not Hearts or Celtic, so it'll probably be, I would say, Antman to get one. We're going to give Antman one. I think he'll get one. And I'm only joking about Trimity. I think Trimity will maybe get himself a goal, and hopefully Mikey Moore as well, if he plays in that freedom role. And I would like to see maybe if Miowski comes on from the bench, I'll give him the 4th one.
Before I'll ask you, Ricky, my tip now, just with some head, is Chimity won't play on Sunday. I reckon it'll be Miowski with Moore behind him. I think Chimity will be saved, actually. One, because of plastic pitch, because I think he has missed a lot of games on those, and also because of Celtic games coming up, I think he'll be left on the bench and make one later. So I'm going for Miowski and Moore behind him. Anyway, Ricky, just to see it so on Monday night to see if I'm right.
Yeah, I love William's optimism. I hope he is the genie, the Northern Irish genie that we've been needing for the podcast, and we give him a.
Yes, you'll give him a rub.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give him a rubber tub if he's right with it. We're top of the league. Because for me, we need Celtic to have at least one draw. Us beat them at home and them have one draw before we go to the split would be fantastic for me. That would give us enough of a cushion before we go to Parkhead. But I think my prediction is I think Hearts will drop points. I think they'll draw at home against Falkirk. I'll go 1-1 there. I think Celtic will beat Hibs 2-1 just with just the usual garbage at there. It'll be a last-minute goal, the usual nonsense. And I think we'll take care of Livingston 3-0. I'll go Fernandez. Hopefully Big Shermity scores a goal. I'd love to see him keep this run going and have another impressive performance. And I'll go for Mikey Moore, 3-0 Rangers. And that would still be a decent weekend for me. As long as we win, it's a good weekend, mate. So I'll be happy with that on Monday.
Happy with that. And Scott, do you know, I think before obviously Falkirk are a really good side. Williams, right? They play really good football. The one thing they don't do is score enough goals. I think that's their problem. They don't have the goal scoring. But your thoughts for the 3 big games over the weekend as we draw closer and closer?
I think the three teams at the top will win. I think Celtic will win 3-1. I think they'll bounce back. I think they have to, because if they don't, there's no really better call out the polls for Sunday night, because they'll be riots up there. I think they'll win 3-1. I don't think Hibs are a good side. I think away from home they're not great. I think a lot of people think Hibs are better than what they actually are. And that's how I was angry and me do Easter Road, because I don't think they're great. I think Hearts will beat Falkirk. I don't think Falkirk's as good as people say. I think they're okay with what he's done, but I think because their bottom 6 are quite poor, they don't usually don't score a lot of goals. I watched them against Stenhousemuir, and I thought Stenhousemuir gave them as good as they got until kind of in extra time, and then kind of their legs went. And I think we'll win either 3-1 or 4-1. I think Mikey Moore will score. I think Hearts will win 2-0. I think we'll win either 3-1 or 4-1. Mikey Moore, Fernandez, and I think Miowski will either get 1 or 2.
So we will still be in the same position come Monday night as we are just now on that basis.
You probably, Ricky said we're favourites, but I think every team can say they're favourites, because every team's looking at the fixtures and saying, if we win all these games, we've won the league. Because there's nothing at all dividing any team. It's like a fag paper, do you know what I mean?
But Kerr, you look at the Forum League though, man. If you look at Forum, Rangers are miles ahead in the Forum table. Celtic are absolutely
fine, Ricky, but
come on, Hearts are miles away. Like, if you just look at how's it going to flip? Hearts have not put a run of games together. I hear nonsense in the media this week, and I see 2 sides of it, right? I see people digging Hearts out, going, "Oh, their bubbles burst, their crap," and I don't think that's fair, because I still think that they are in the title race and they're going to win games and they're going to be close, right? But I wouldn't surprise me if Hearts finish 4th. But anyway, they're still going to win games, right? But the other people that are saying that Hearts have got favourable games, to me is just absolute nonsense, because you look at their form and their form is all over the place. They've no won 2 games in a row for ages, for weeks and weeks. So for me, it's between us and Celtic. And Celtic, you saw that last night. That's going to dent their confidence last night. I still think they'll take care of Hibs, but they've been their signings are absolutely garbage, mate. None of the players they signed in January are basically getting near their starting 11. Only that big striker, and he doesn't exactly look like he's like this type of players that were signing in the past. So for me, if you look at everything, it's there for Rangers to go and win it, because we're the team with all the momentum. We're the team with all the momentum. That's what gives me all the confidence. But the only thing I'll say about Rangers is, and I think it's a fair assessment, is, do these players have the mentality to get it over the line? Because you kind of go to Livingston and draw, and you kind of do what we've done in the past and have a couple of slip-ups away from home. Because that's what I'm worried about, Was.
We drew at Motherwell.
No, but that's different. I think that's different, Kerr, because that's two really... We shouldn't... I agree we should have won the games, but that's tough games.
If you're fighting
that's
for the league,
really tough games.
Nah, I don't agree with that. If you're fighting for the league, then every game should be the same. So if he can draw, they can draw. Do you know what I mean?
Kerr, in the past, no Rangers team, even in the past, when we won leagues, won every single game with 13 games to go.
I get that, but you're saying that I think there are going to be more battles between now and the end of the season. I don't think we're favourites. I
think that, to wrap this up in terms of there, so Hearts could say they're favourites because they're top of the league, 2 points clear. Celtic could say they're favourites because we've got a game in hand and we go above us. We could say we're favourites because we've got the momentum. Each of the 3 teams could say they've got a case for being favourites for it as it stands today. It's going to be over the next 11 games who wins more points, very simply, than the other teams. It's no, you can dress up as much as you want about who's favourites, who's not. Whoever wins more points over the next 11 games will win the league, basically.
Aye. And one thing is, our new players are what have given me a lot of confidence, but that's one injured already. And there is a worry there where Romans has got a back problem. The big strikers out already injured. And then if Chuck Wanney and Olsen get injured, then we're back to square one. So I agree with Kerr. I think we're favourites just now, but there is things that can happen that can completely send it in different directions.
Looking at momentum, looking at the players we brought in, looking at probably what the squads they have, Rangers probably edging favourites based on that. But I think
the business we did in January is the best by an absolute mile. It's not even close to the Hearts. Jamestown broke down when the pressure was on, and they started. Here, tell Derek McInnes' little love child down there in the top corner. He's on not another Rangers podcast, not another Gorgie podcast. For Christ's sake, man.
Well, you're still there.
Still there. I would say the only thing is the difference is them guys, them 2 teams, Celtic and Hearts, have to play Motherwell twice each, and if they play them before the split. And if they play them after the split, I know we have them as well. That could tell the tale. That Motherwell team will be a tough for any of those 2.
He was at Parkhead last night in Celtic director's box with John Collins.
Is he not just watching the game, but is that not just watching the game?
Nah, I don't know. He was sitting next to John Collins.
I heard that a while back. They're looking at him as manager.
They're looking at him. I think they are looking at him, like, for sure. Be interesting.
As we come to the end of the pod, the best comment of the day, I like that one there, Joe. Rangers and Celtic games both kick off at the same time on Sunday, so it means you can catch the last 20 minutes of the Celtic game. That's impressive. Well done, Ian. That's joke of the evening. Last question, because I think it's a meaningless question, but it's been picked up on a lot as if there's a big drama around it. Celtic getting the Broomloan Road stand, Scott, for the cup semi-final. I don't know. People are trying to make a bigger deal out of something that isn't that we knew was going to happen anyway. For my take on it.
Gary, if the game was at Celtic Park, we wanting a lot of tickets as well. So, when I was growing up, they also had the Broomloan stand. So, for years, so it doesn't really bother me. I'm just hoping. By all accounts, I've heard there's only just over 3,000 people in the Broomloan to get tickets. The ones that are still in the thing. I don't know if that's true. So if that's the case, we should all get them. If it's not, then we might be struggling. But that doesn't bother me, Gary. I think that's a fair. I wouldn't give him anywhere near 10, but I think that's fair.
And me too, I'd agree, and I don't even want to make a big deal because I think the media's been trying to make a drama of something nobody's actually been that bothered about because we know it's one of these things. We are coming to the end of the pod now. I think it's probably a good time to wrap up. Who knew we'd been nothing to talk about? We managed to last just over an hour. That's positive. William's done this twice, so he's lasted a couple of hours with nothing to talk about. So, William, thank you for joining us again. It's always a pleasure to have you on. You need to get Ricky on. He could fill the hour for you, no bother, when there's nothing much happening next time.
I've told him, Ricky, welcome anytime, mate. Always.
Yeah, we'll get that organised soon.
You're going to make fun of his accent? Is that Jinky's trying to dodge it?
No way, mate. I would never make fun. I love
I'm having to make fun of yours.
Easy. That's easy. Easy.
Mm-hmm. And just one more thing, John, just one more time. If it's
Johnny Blockchain,
unsubscribe and subscribe.
He thinks you're a prick.
You need to subscribe probably because I don't know if you do the same, Gary. We do a wee thing at the start, and you have to be a subscriber for at least a minute before you can comment. Saves them that obviously coming on. So maybe that's the problem. And if you can't work it out, well, sure, the next time I'm with the lads, I'll chat to you then.
Do you know what I think you should do? See if he doesn't get to put his comments the next time. You should come up, get him on as a guest with you, give him a chance to tell you all, and then that sounds reasonable.
That's a reasonable. We'll get Ricky on as well on that one, a bonus show.
John, you and Ricky go on one night and actually help them out there for there, and that means you can get all your comments across. You've been trying to get in for weeks upon weeks now. So thank you for everybody for watching. Thanks for everybody for all the comments, really, and thanks Ian for that joke. That was outstanding. We will be back on Monday night, hopefully top of the table, as William says. Hopefully we'll be top of the table, but at the very worst, hopefully we're in the same position we are now and looking forward to a pretty exciting fortnight against Celtic. Do you know the two games at Ibrox against Celtic, which should potentially make or break our season.
My mother just said you're brilliant in the podcast.
What was that, Ricky?
That's my ma.
Oh, is that your mum?
That's my mother.
You just reminded me this. Scott, tell the audience. And so you were out on Saturday night and you started texting us to say you were in the pub. What happened?
I met this boy. It was in a guy called Andrew. He said he watches us and stuff like that. And Ricky, I think Ricky's his favourite. Just been about Ricky quite a bit.
He loves Ricky. So
I don't get it. I don't understand where this comes from, Ricky.
Because I'm positive. You're a Hearts fan, and I'm positive, man. You're Bear Jambo, no Jambo Bear. You're Bear Jambo.
There you go. Ricky, you are brilliant on the podcast, as Silver says. So that's on that note, we will finish for there. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, William, for joining us. We will see you all next week. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. Bye now.